Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Right, 2020 has been a very eventful year across the globe with the coronavirus pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement, and in Nigeria, the rape epidemic. Which brings me to the topic for today, men and sex. I've always wondered about men and their demand for sex. What's a demand? It's to place a request on something, authoritative request for something. And the reason why I use the word demand is because as a female, I've been in positions where it's been required, it's been demanded of me. When you go out to, like for instance, you go out for a job, you're looking for employment, or you go out for a contract or an opportunity, and somehow it's propositioned to you in the course of discussion that, you know, I like you, meet me at so-and-so place, you know, I can give it to you, I can give you the job, or I can give you the opportunity if you do this, or if you do that, or if you meet me halfway, or if you are willing to sacrifice, or if you're willing to do what it takes to get the position or to get the opportunity. It might not be said in plain English, but there's an undertone. I remember a few years ago when I used to visit Nigeria a lot. And the reason why I was coming was because I wanted to network, I wanted to meet people. I wanted to start a career, forge a career in the entertainment business as an actress, as a producer, whichever one came first. It just so happens that the acting opportunities came before the producing opportunities. But one of my visits, I came with a proposal for a film. I think it was a film or TV series that I wanted to produce. And a friend of mine who had just moved back at the time, I contacted him because he was one of the people that I reached out to before I made the trip. And I contacted him while I was here, when I got here, and I asked him, I said, who does he know? Who can he introduce me to? I've got this proposal for a film, a TV series, and I don't know anyone to pitch to. And he said, come. I know this person who works in this mobile corporation, and I can make an introduction, and he'll get you to see the chairman, and you know, you know, naive, innocent, stupid me. I thought, wow, you know, I thought it was that easy. I went to him, and he made an introduction to this person who's in charge of, I think he was in charge of proposals at the time. So what he would do is he would vet the proposal, and if he thought your proposal was good enough, he'd pass it to the chairperson, or he'd pass it to the person who made the final decisions. And I walked into this guy's office with my friend. Obviously, he did the introduction, and I told him that I just came into the country for this purpose, and it's an honor to meet him. It's a privilege, and you know, but the thing is, what I noticed was when I walked into the office, he had a stack of, like, his table was full of proposals. And I was like, what chance do I have? You know, if all these proposals get dropped on his desk every day, like, who am I? But you know what? I thought, you never know. So he looked at me and said, oh, don't worry. I speak to the chairman every time. I can call the chairman now. You can speak to the chairman. You know, don't worry. Before you go back, I'll get you to see the chairman. And I thought, wow, really? Today's my lucky day. Unbeknownst to me, it was all a dream. Do you know, that same day that I walked into his office, I'd never met the man before. First time ever, he says to me, let's do lunch. I'm like, I called my friend, I was like, this guy says let's do lunch. Is that normal? He said, oh, we'll go and do lunch now. Go and do lunch. What's there? Go and do lunch. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I said, sure, I'll go to lunch with you. And went to lunch with him that day. I remember we went to Yellow Chili. Now, Yellow Chili they have a section downstairs and a section upstairs. He says, let's go to the section upstairs. So on the way to the section upstairs, he turns around and kisses me. Now I'm thinking, huh? I was really uncomfortable. I didn't even know what to do. I don't know if to turn around and run out the restaurant. I was dumbfounded. I was rooted to the spot. So I was like, oh gosh, you know. We had the dinner, we had the lunch, then I went home. So the next day, I'd left, obviously back to the mainland that day. I came back to the island and I told him, he calls me and tells me, where am I? And I say, I'm on the island. And he was like, oh, okay, would you want to have dinner? Called my friend again and said, dinner? We had lunch yesterday and this is what he did. And he wants me to come back today for dinner. What's dinner gonna be like? And then at that moment, I knew that my proposal wasn't gonna go anywhere. You know, so what I'm trying to say is, walking into his office, pretty girl, naive, probably doesn't know a damn thing, doesn't know anybody. He's objectified me, and you know, he's already got the scenario playing out in his head, what he wants to do with me. And I'm there thinking, I've got an opportunity here and I may just, you know, succeed in what I have come to him for. That's just one scenario. I've got so many others, but I can't share all of them today because it saddens me when I remember, you know, some of my encounters and how meeting people where it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, not meeting people, meeting men. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are, how viable your business is. That's taken away. You know, they want what they want. And if you're not ready to play ball, if you're not ready to succumb, then forget it. Now, the thing is, I've never understood the insatiable desire for these men to have sex with just anyone that they meet or everybody that they meet. I've never understood it. It's not that we women don't like sex. We do. We love sex as much as men do. I want to believe that us women, we operate on a completely different level. Our emotional intelligence, our emotions, or should I say our psyche towards sex is somewhat wired differently. Now, I expect men to have a certain level of emotional intelligence, which I've come to realize that most men don't. So what is emotional intelligence? It's the ability to manage one's emotions and the emotions of someone else, the emotions of others. And I think with emotional intelligence, you'd be able to read other people's body language, you'd be able to get cues as to whether they want you or not. And if you do preposition them, you would be able to distinguish yes from a no. Now, this brings me to the issue of the rape epidemic going on in the country at the moment. It's not that the rape has never existed or there hasn't been an issue of rape in the country. There has. It's just that it's been spotlighted, and what spotlighted it at the moment was the case of Uwa in Benin, who got raped in the church. She was raped and she was murdered. And that sparked outrage across the country. I was livid when I heard, and people have, on the subject matter, somehow summoned the courage to speak up. It's not your fault if you were raped. It's the fault of the brute who can't hold it together, who has absolutely no self-control, no self-resistance, and looks at a woman, who objectifies the woman and sees the woman as one thing and one thing only, and that's a walking vagina. So I believe and I want, I hope that victims will no longer be quiet when they come against these perpetrators. I hope that the victims will find their voices to speak out and name and shame. Now, the good thing is that social media has made it very easy for us to air our grievances, and you do have people who will support you. Just make sure that you're not making a false claim, but you do have people that will support you and people who will speak up for you, who will fight your cause for you. There are NGOs and bodies that are fighting these causes daily. I'll list them in the comment section, so you can contact them if you've ever suffered any form of sexual assault, sexual abuse whatsoever. We need to talk about pedophilia, the epidemic of pedophiles, and the rising cases of child rape and child abuse. It's shocking. I watched the video the other day of the woman who was abusing her little daughter. Her daughter is 2 years old, and she was cussing out the little child, calling the child a prostitute, because she was 2 years old and the child was raped. And rather than report the degenerate that put his hands on that little girl, she rather resorted to, she actually did beat the child to the point where the child had bruises, and it was because of the bruises, people saw the child with the little girl with bruises, and they were asking the mother, what happened to the child, why did she have so many bruises on? And that's when the mother started to speak up and say she beat her, and she beat her because she was raped. Have you ever heard of that? You beat the child because the child was raped, and you blame it on the child. Like I said, I'm talking about men and sex, and I really want to understand why the men think that it's okay to objectify us women. It's okay to demand sex from us for a career, for a job, for an opportunity. I mean, why don't you just go and get a prostitute? They'll give you what you want. I recommend that every woman has a can of pepper spray in her bag. If you can also afford it, get a taser. Yeah? If you can't afford a taser and pepper spray, I highly recommend that you at least get the pepper spray. And then when you're up against any of these abusers, you pepper spray that infidel to an inch. You spray that, empty that can in every orifice that exists in that vile piece of trash's body. And men, you need to do better. It's barbaric. It's inhuman. It's evil. It's the lowest. It's disrespectful. That pleasure. What, how long is it? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? The pleasure that you derive from taking advantage of anyone, from sexual assault, from rape. That pleasure is pure, unadulterated evil. Anyway, please subscribe to my channel, guys, and till next time, peace.